everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It's me and Ali again, Dream Team, like we like to call ourselves. And you're watching Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org and Africam. Of course, very excited. Lots of things going on. Some exciting clips, hopefully. How are you doing, Ali?
I am doing very well. Finally a little bit warmer because it's been freezing up here in the Lowveld, but carrying on.
Today was nice and sunny in Cape Town, I must say. Anyway, remember that we're live, so you can send us your questions, send us your comments. Should I even check if any of you have said hello yet? No, I won't, because you haven't. Well, I did check and you haven't. I'm sure lots of them will come through and we'll discuss them. And please send through your questions. I love having good discussions with you guys. So, like we said, we're going to recap on some of the most exciting or strange or any really lovely sightings that we had on the cams this week. And to start over, we're going to watch some of my favorite animals, which are elephants, as the slip of the tongue has now told you. I'm terrible when I have to say jokes and I get too excited and then I say the punchline before I complete the joke. Anyway, it's still entertaining though for people who are nearby, like Ali. Anyway, some elephants are trying to cross a river and there's some interesting behavior, so let's have a look. I love the sound of elephants in or near water.
I think just elephants near water, not only the sound, everything about them.
Oh yes, there's an energy, an excitement. So obviously some of them are drinking, but it seems that crossing is what they ultimately want to do. Oh, this little one, are you going to be able to do it? Apparently not.
Definitely not keen. Quite interesting that just the 3 have actually made it all the way through.
Yeah, or even attempted to get in.
I mean, to be fair, I would be interested in crossing that dark water at night. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Back over, we're not going to do it.
Nope, they heard me.
So just so you guys know, elephants can definitely swim. So it's not the depth that is going to be a bother for them.
That's interesting, but we're looking quite quickly, so I think now we're... Okay. It's just the panic as they go back to the edge of the water.
There's definitely a panic. You can see the tails are starting to stiffen. Obviously, like the general mood of the movement was more panicky.
I mean, it was quite brave of them to start sort of crossing in the middle of the night, and then the little ones were, I think, the clever ones, and they were like, "No, thank you, we're good. We're just gonna stick around here. We're not interested." And
do we really need to go to the other side?
No, why would you? But I think that maybe it was that middle elephant, the one that trumpeted so loud, or that just pretty much had that panic attack. Because then he's the one that, or it's the one that started sort of running across. And I don't think it was, maybe nothing really prompted it. It was just like, when you're just already scared and you're running and you just panic more by yourself without any additional help or anything. So I think whatever spooked them was not actually behind them. He was just like, that sort of slow reaction to like, I'm so close. I just want to get out of this water now.
exactly. Like you said, it's a panic, and the sound of the trumpeting, it was so high pitched and it was so forceful. It was certainly, it sounded panicky, and the movements, they were so suddenly very, very quick, and the tails were so stiff. And I, for any animal near a waterhole, there's a threat of crocodiles. And so
Hmm.
every animal approaches a waterhole very, very carefully, or a river very, very carefully. And so the elephants were, at least the front elephant, the big cow that was leading them, looked like it was doing due diligence. But unfortunately, her followers didn't feel the same way.
I mean, I have seen in rivers before where elephants have put their trunk in the water and then they just pull them up and then there's a crocodile attached to the trunk of the elephant. So it could be that maybe,
Wow.
there was a crocodile somewhere around there because they were already there. So the only reason why they wouldn't
Mm,
cross was if something were on the other side and they weren't interested in that. But I mean, it could have been a crocodile in the water, could have been other elephants on the other side, could have just been the wind, could have, you know,
yeah,
it's hard
yeah.
to know what actually happened.
And usually it's not as if crocodiles are a huge threat to elephants, to fully grown elephants, but nobody wants to, get a bit of their trunk snapped off and
Yeah.
anything like that. So even though they won't kill him, the crocodiles won't kill elephants. It's still a risk to be moving in water if they sense that there is a crocodile. And
Yeah.
their vision, they would be able to see quite well at night. They have lots of rods in their eyes, and they also have this reflective surface in the back of their retina. So they can see well, and they could probably see something that we couldn't, perhaps. So we have finally some hellos. Okay, so we've got Lisa White, who says, "Good day from a hot Washington state." Hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. Zygote says, "Hi, Africam, Ali, and Trish." So does Vixenook. That's an interesting name. Everyone's saying hi to us, Ali.
Well, hello
And
everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Bob from Kalamazoo as well says, "Good day, lovely ladies." Why, thank you, Bob. Hello from Sue in Ohio, USA. We have Mary for Wild, Dream Team for sure. Thank you, Mary. Uh, we we're not sure that we have any credentials to support that, but we call ourselves that. And then we have good afternoon from good afternoon, all greetings from a lovely and warm UK. That's Suki V. And then we have a couple of comments. So we've got Mike Lenz. Hi, Mike. You say it's amazing that crocodiles would not go after elephants in the water, especially at night. And like Ali was saying, you've seen a crocodile attached to a trunk. And I'm sure if there was a dead elephant, crocodiles would certainly
Oh,
have a
they
go.
would.
But yeah.
I think it would be,
Have you
crocodiles being opportunistic more than anything else. Just,
just lost
but
Ali briefly?
I've never heard crocodile hunting an elephant in the water. I think that's a little bit too optimistic even for the biggest of crocodiles.
Yeah, I would say punching above its weight in that particular scenario. But I can understand, Mike, why you would think it's something that could happen because it's an apex predator. It's in the water. That's its home. But yeah, eventually it comes down to size, and crocodiles are solitary on their own, and elephants, you're not just going to have to combat one elephant, but an entire herd that could easily stomp a crocodile to death. Everyone's always looking after their own safety, even when they are engaging in fights. Um, you'll often see predators, and Ali, you can speak to this too. Like you'll see predators who are sizing each other up, and you know that they're going to fight, but it takes a while to. It either happens very quickly, or it might not happen at all. But everyone's looking out for themselves, at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, I think a good way to put it is there's a lot of bluff in the animal world to try and avoid any sort of physical conflict. Because once you engage in that, then you don't know if you're gonna, come up in the upper hand. So you've got to be really sure of what you're doing and that you've got a pretty good chance of winning or escaping, or, it's your only option. Depends on the scenario.
Yeah,
But there's
exactly.
generally a lot of bluff involved in all species across the world.
And lots of tricks to make them appear larger and more
Hmm.
intimidating before they actually have to engage. And then we have Vixen Nook. Oh, it's Vixen UK. There we go. At least I think so. That's what it is. You can let me know. Um, Vixen Nook, Vixen UK. They are letting the big guy go first to test the water to make sure it's safe, and then he heard something. Um,
Could be.
I think, yeah, the big guy looked like, or it was probably a cow in this instance. Um, looked like the one who wanted to make it across and was. I think everybody else was not as keen, but eventually they all turned around. And then Kathy Barton. Hi, Kathy. You say that trumpeting sounded like a woman screaming in a bad horror flick. I think we should hear that trumpet one more time. If Kirst could move ourselves there. Kathy, I agree.
Yeah,
It
me too.
was, yeah, it was like beyond the threshold of what the speaker could hold at that point, which is how you know it's a very bad horror flick um, when the sound is not modulated correctly. Anyway, let's move on to our next clip, which is quite an interesting one. Okay, let's just have a look at it. I haven't seen this one yet, but I saw the description, so let's. It's the honey badger.
It's so cute.
I know, they're great. You can see a whole lot of scrub hairs behind it. You can see their eyes. Oh, it's a jackal.
That's some interesting interaction.
Yeah.
Is the jackal playing?
Oh,
No,
oh.
not playing.
But I see why you said that, Ali, because
Yeah,
it's like nothing and running back.
it's not. Maybe it's maybe this is not the first honey badger it's encountered.
And there's
Oh, that's
always
quite
an
funny.
audience of impala.
Surprised the honey badger hasn't gone bullying the impala.
Exactly. That was very interesting.
Yeah,
I can't say I have any thoughts on it yet.
I mean, obviously they're not friends. They wouldn't just hang out with one another. But I don't think. I think there was more curiosity than anything else with the jackal. Maybe it's sort of like a youngish jackal because it definitely goes and bites him. But the honey badger doesn't react in a way that it feels incredibly threatened, or it doesn't seem like it. I mean, he does have the tail up and it's probably fluffed up and it's wanting to put some distance between them just for good measure, but I don't think it was like full on aggression. I think the jackal was just testing the waters maybe. Because the way it moves the tail and so on, it looks almost like it's playing, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're right in that the honey badgers have a really fierce reputation. And this one doesn't seem to be too bothered. It just kind of moves off, and yeah, just a very cool
Continues.
clip. I'd like to say that the jackals were playing, but I'm not inside the head of a jackal, and I'm gonna believe that they were playing. It would just be too
I'm
cute.
gonna believe.
But like
Be
Ali
a
said,
believer.
uh, very rationally and correctly, they are not playing. They are very much probably just curious about the honey badger. So, oh, this is about our last clip. Pat says, I would think hippos would be a bigger danger, I suppose, to the elephants. Have you seen an interaction between hippos and elephants, Sally?
I mean, I haven't witnessed more than just them trying to bully one another in times of stress. So in during the drought and where there's not a lot of water and then the elephants come and drink and the hippos don't want them there. But it's been again more bluff than anything else. I haven't seen sort of like a hippo try to go at at the elephants, like especially not in a river like that. But it is a possibility. Maybe there were also hippos somewhere there. Could be maybe that on the other side there were some hippos eating, heard the elephants and ran back to the water and gave them a fright. It's a possibility we didn't talk about. So it could also
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, it was my last time that I was up in the Sabi Sands. I saw a big elephant bull that was coming down to have a swim in the water, and there was the big hippo bull approached the elephant, and the elephant did not care. This was a huge bull. And then he decided to get straight into the water, just his trunk up, and he was having the time of his life. You know how amazing those sightings are. And the hippo, though it had approached the elephant, it will not get very close to it. But then he would, thrash around his head and open up his jaw and things like that. Just aggressive displays. But I haven't seen them actually make contact ever. But always a
I'm
possibility.
I have seen the anecdotal event that gets published on social media when, they just sort of find themselves on land and then one will try to hit the other. But it's not a normal thing. It's not something that happens all the time. There's got to be some sort of, I would say it's a response to a certain set of circumstances rather than them actually having it out for one another. And if the hippos are in the water and the elephants are crossing the water, as you say, they just leave each other be.
Yeah. But interesting, we actually didn't think about hippos. So thanks for
Hmm.
that, Pat. Mike Lenz, you would like to know, you say, I couldn't tell the honey badger and a jackal were playing if they were fighting each other. Yes, we like to believe they were playing, but it's more likely, like Ali had pointed out, a curiosity thing, because neither seemed very threatened by the other. Anna Emerson, you say, what preys on a honey badger? They are so fierce. I have found that
Well,
honey badgers tend to be the object of curiosity a lot by, like,
mm,
lions and stuff like that. But I can't say I've ever seen one injured, firstly. I've never seen a dead one. And naturally, it has no predators. But I suppose young honey badgers birds of prey would probably be um, a predator for them, or yeah, would prey
mhm.
on them. What do you say,
I
Ali?
have seen honey badgers getting eaten by or hunted by lions before on a couple of occasions. Not all the time, but it's almost like a response to curiosity because the lions don't seem to eat much of the honey badger. So whenever I've seen that happen, it's always like they sort of like take a few bites and then just leave it. I don't know if they don't like the taste of the meat or what it is, but I wouldn't say it's their primary. And honey badgers are fierce, so lions and leopards would definitely think about it before they try to take on a honey badger.
Yeah, and that the coloring of the honey badger, the distinct black and white, it acts as a warning to any potential predators, and rightly so. They have long claws, a very robust skull and teeth, and they have very thick skin. I know 6 millimeters doesn't sound like a lot, but it's pretty thick to have skin like that, and also loose skin. So it's difficult to really get a hold of the honey badger, which probably also ignites curiosity because a lion comes or manages to get hold of a honey badger, grabs onto it. And now the honey badger is still wriggling, and it's like, no, well, now what? I've got to do something else, try something else, and eventually, I guess too many claw marks, too many teeth bites or bite marks, and the honey badger dies. I don't suppose it's very tasty though, like you said, because it has that anal pouch.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen them being eaten properly, so I suspect there's something in the taste. Because, I mean, lions can eat, and leopards even can eat certain types of meat that, are well past their consumption date, and they'll still be okay.
Oh, we've seen some really, like, I've seen some animals eat some rancid things quite happily, and they seem to be just fine with it. You occasionally get them throw up, and if you're lucky enough to see that, then that's great. But they can eat some incredible things.
Yeah. But having
Um,
said that, I've never seen an interaction between honey badgers and jackals, so this was the first for me, which was pretty cool.
yeah, those were very very cool. Those looked like side striped jackals when I was
They did.
looking at them. And oh, Spas asked if there are side-striped jackals. Yes, Spas, they look like they were side-striped jackals. Anyway, let's move on to our next clip, which is I like to call this family kind of the star of our cams because we get to see them so often and get to follow their lives and the lives of the little chick. So let's see what was brought as a snack for the chick recently. Oh wow, look at you. Oh, I mean that chick is huge now. So these are rose eagles. If you're unfamiliar with them, and they have one of the adults has brought it back uh,
A something.
a something. I was to be honest, when the clip started, I was looking very much at just how large the chick has gotten.
But it does kind of look like a diker. Now, earlier when it was pulling it, oh, or the chick was pulling it, it kind of seems like maybe a young diker even.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly not a dussie, which is their specialist prey because it's got long legs. And at least from what I understand is, oh, there we go. There's kind of the head. Oh, it's hard to tell, but I'm with you, Ali. With the color of the fur looks that kind of gray, washed out brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does.
This is the first time that I've seen on the cams them bring an antelope to the nest, which is quite interesting. Usually we've been seeing dussies essentially the whole time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Maybe they
And
felt, there was a swap in the diet, something else for a change.
maybe that, maybe sustaining this chick caused a significant dent in the dussie population. It
Could
can
also
happen.
be. Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
and rose eagles or black eagles, they like dussies are their specialist prey. They make up like 99% of their diet in some areas like a little bit less. But in South Africa, definitely about 90% of their diet. So for them to take something other than that, I would say is either just an opportunistic behavior, um, or they just couldn't find dussies that day, which can happen too.
Perhaps a combination of both. That would actually make
Hmm.
quite a lot of sense. Maybe,
Um,
maybe just this poor diker was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
and that's how lots of them go, isn't it? Being in the wrong place at the wrong time. With herd animals, it's being in the wrong part of the herd at the wrong time. So yeah, unfortunately, I just want to see the beginning of that clip again, and if we could just pause it, Kirst, because I was so busy looking at the little one. I just wanted to see as it comes in, almost. Yeah, I think Dassie's pretty much our Daika is pretty much our options there.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
steenbok would be the other sort of small antelope option, but it would have a different, or maybe a grijsbok. But it doesn't seem to have the right shape.
Yeah, and the other thing that was thrown out was maybe a clip springer, but the face and the color of the fur doesn't seem right.
No, it just has that very diker look to it. I mean, I
Yes,
think.
I think so too. And obviously, it's a small animal. As in, I mean, a calf, because a diker weighs like females can weigh up to 15 to 20 kgs. So it's not a fully grown diker. It wouldn't be able to lift a fully grown diker. So a calf that we're assuming is a diker. Um,
Shame.
so we have some questions. Pat, you said it looks like a small impala. The color is not right for an impala, Pat. Also, it's not as impala lambs have really, they look like quite scrawny. Their legs are quite skinny. And this looked a little bit more stout, if I could say. And then we have Gigi. Gigi, you'd like to know, how do they hunt? Ali, you feel welcome to chime in here. I don't know too much about rose eagles, but I do know at least basically how they hunt. So they fly at a low level, and then they kind of spiral downwards very quickly and then grab whatever it is. And they usually hunt on the ground. But there are some dussies, because we spoke about them being specialists with dussies, there's some dussies that will be up in trees. And then they will pluck them off the trees sometimes too. There is, it has been recorded that they will sometimes hunt in pairs, although usually they don't, where one of the pair will swoop in and chase the dussies while another one will be kind of hiding and just grab one as they're running. And they're also ambush hunters, so they'll wait till the last moment to reveal, themselves. Yeah.
And I
That's
think
the
also if
basic.
it is a young, yeah, if it's a young diker, what would generally happen is also like they'll sit in the long grass or they'll be by themselves. And while they're by themselves and the parents are not around for whatever reason, then they are more vulnerable. And even if it were with the mom, as we were saying earlier, it's pretty much everybody looks after their own safety. So if the eagle were to come down, could have been that they mother and calf ran in different directions, and then the eagle saw the younger one running. I was like, that is the easy one. That's the one I'm going for. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
that's the way I think it could have gone.
The
Because
other
I mean,
thing
this happens
I was
really fast.
yes, exactly, very, very quickly. And especially for a calf that's lying up in some thicket, eh, and you don't have the safety of your parents, which you're relying upon essentially. And the point of being able to stash your calf is to be able to hide it. It can happen so quickly, and the calf really doesn't realize it's happening until it happens.
Yeah.
You'll also notice that its guts were out at that point, or at least its stomach was open. Um, so usually, I read at least that the rose eagle will take off the head of antelopes on the ground before flying up with them, obviously to reduce the weight. So I wonder, because that's why I was watching whether the head was still attached, and it was. So maybe it decided to go the leopard route and take out the insides instead. Leopards do that. Good.
Well, I think it's just a matter of lightening the weight sometimes with the animals, and then obviously we don't know the circumstances around why or how they hunted this animal, but sometimes if there's pressure from, let's say, another predator, they'd rather try and take off with what they've got so that they
Yeah,
don't lose the entire meal that they've got. So if there was any other sort of predator around that could have stolen the kill from them and they had already taken out the guts, then it's just easier just to try and grab it and fly away.
yeah, exactly. We have one last clip. We only have a few minutes left, but I think it's worth it. It's another one with my favorites. Always amazes me.
They make it look so simple, don't they?
They really do.
And then you as a human, you try to get to a tree and try to shake one branch and you can't even do that.
Exactly. It feels so solid. But I suppose sometimes when you don't want to stretch up, feeling a bit lazy, then you can just pick some fresh growth off the ground now.
Oh, it's just so much easier apparently. At least it's eating it.
Apparently, exactly. I'm glad you said that, because sometimes they decide, oh, actually, I didn't want that tree that much.
Yeah, and then they just push it down and then leave it like that and then move on to the next one.
Exactly. And I know that a lot of times people say that they're quite destructive, and they are very destructive. They break down trees, but it's not. It doesn't have no use. Those little hollows and the shade or the shelter that the trees provide, the decaying and all of that just is part of the system. So it's not that they're destructive without any positive outcome from it.
Mhm. And they also won't eat everything, so they're making that food available to a wide variety of creatures that wouldn't be able to reach it otherwise.
Exactly, that is an excellent point. Um, yeah, and it's something. It's really a marvel to watch. You saw how the trunk was lifted up out of the way, and then all the force was just boom onto that tree and down it went. So cool. Anyway, Aliana, I hope that you had a great time with us, and thank you so much for your questions and your comments. But it is time to say goodbye. So until next time, and we hope that you have a great day, night, wherever you are in the world as well. Okay, bye.
Cheers, bye!